Hello everybody, this is Bill McFadden from TonePure.com, and in this video we're going to get into the new Hollywood East West Opus Orchestrator, and we're going to particularly look at the ensemble presets. So the first thing you do is you just add an instrument track, and in particular it's a good idea to make sure you're adding the Opus VST3, so it has those three little slashes there, because there's two versions of it, the VST2 as well. So that is your best choice. And then we open up that, and then we'll go ahead and select Hollywood Orchestrator, add that. And then we have these presets. We have three categories: ensembles, ostinatos, scores, and user. And I went over the ostinatos and scores in two previous videos. So this time we're going to look at the ensembles. Let's go ahead and start with the strings long, in particular the strings Big Legato. So we just have strings. And we have control over the volume as well with the mod wheel. Let's take a look at another preset. As you can see, we have a lot of possibilities. Here you have legato, so you can't really do chords. Let's take a look at the sustain basic, so we can see how the chords work. So notice that we have the legato from the first violin, which is not a problem because it's just playing the top note. So whatever the top note of the chord is. And the second violins are sustained, so we could play more than one note, although we're just playing actually two notes, the middle two notes of the chord, assuming you have a four-note chord. So if I can solo that, so you can hear it's playing two notes. So it's playing the, when it says middle two, if it's a three-note chord, it plays basically the top two. And then we have legato, but it's only playing the middle note for the viola. And cello legato, but it's only playing the lowest note. So, and the same with the bass legato. Let's take a look at the Viola Lead here. So we see the viola is taking the top note in this legato here, and the violin is taking lowest note. So basically the top note, so it's taking the lead in the chord, the top note of the chord. And we have a lead with a cello. Let's take a look at that. Let's look at the lead 4. So you see the cello has the top, the volume's up. Maybe I'll put it up a little more just for emphasis. So we're getting a little bit out of the range of the viola there for a second. So now let's go into a different category. We've been looking at the strings long. Let's look at some strings short. Here's a Marcato unison. Let's listen to that. And let's get into some pizzicato. Pizzicato wide, select. And then let's get into another category, the winds long. And later we'll have the full ensembles, including most of the sections of the orchestra. But let's take a look at the winds long. And let's go ahead and start with sustain basic 2. Now you can see we have the legato, we have a sustain where we're playing 2 notes, the top 2 notes. Also the clarinet's legato, just the middle note, bassoon legato, just the lowest. So as you know, in legato you can only play 1 note. So whenever you see an articulationist legato, you should only see a 1 note choice here. We do have all notes, lowest 2, which would be 2 notes, lowest plus upper middle, lowest plus octave, and so on. Middle 2 would be 2 notes, top 2 is 2 notes, and so on. Let's see if we just for the, let's do lowest plus upper and see what happens there for the 3 flutes legato, which by the way is one of the new patches in the Opus Orchestra. We'll solo it. So it sounds like we're just hearing 1 note because it's legato. Now let's go ahead and change the articulation to sustain. Well, actually, that was lowest plus upper middle. Sorry about that. Let's try lowest plus octave. Now let's go back to the legato and see what happens. So again, you're just going to get 1 note. And if we go back to the legato, or the sustain, so it is playing actually 2 notes. So therefore, you would need to use a sustain for that particular option when playing, anytime you have more than 1 note. So let's take a look at the sustain white. And all these give you different choices here. So notice we no longer have the 3 flutes, we just have a legato flute, legato oboe, and sustain clarinet, which is playing chords, all notes. So if you play a chord, it'll play all the notes of the chord. And then the bassoon legato, which is only playing the lowest note. So the more I work with it, the more I appreciate it. And let's take a look at another articulation. Let's go into the wind short real quick. Let's do staccato basic 1. And then always look at what you've got here. You've got 3 flutes, the oboe, 3 clarinets, a bassoon, and always look at what's going on. Here we're playing a chord. The lowest 2, middle 2 would be a chord of 2 notes, and so on. So quite a clean sound. Now this happens to be right now we're in the classic. There are 3 moods, soft, classic, and epic. And if you have the diamond version, then it actually makes a difference when you switch to it. Notice we have 3 mic positions here. The classic, we have these 2, surround and main. And the soft, we have the surround in the mid. Now, if you just have the, if you don't have the diamond version, then you'll probably just get the 1 mic position, which is main. So, and it would sound like if I take out this. It really sounds good even just with the main. So now let's go ahead and take a look at another part, or preset. Go back to perform. Then let's get into the brass long. Let's do sustain basic 3. And you always want to look at what's going on. So you've got legato, 6 French horns, 3 trumpets with sustain, only playing the lowest note, and then the 3 trombone sustain playing all notes, and then the solo tuba playing the middle note of your chord. And then we have the shorts. Let's listen to some brass shorts. Staccato, basic 4. Actually, it's staccatissimo for the trumpet, staccato for the French horns, staccatissimo for the trombones, 2 trombones, and staccatissimo for the low brass. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Percussion Tunnel. We have just a few presets there. So let's go ahead and look at the first hit. Now it's interesting, notice with the timpani, we can hit the lowest note, which has been selected, and we have these options. But notice what happens with the concert toms. We have options here that are unique to the toms. And so they're using the floor B, I guess. So that's somewhere where you'd want to dive into the documentation. By the way, you can get the documentation if you go to the Browse menu and you click on this little icon here. Then your documentation comes up in a browser window. Oops, that's something else. There it is. So you can look at your documentation if you need to take a quick look when you're going through presets. And it has your contents, it's resizable. So it's a great asset to have, necessary for all instruments. And so you can get into it and find out exactly what all these acronyms stand for. So let's go ahead and get back into where we were, perform. So let's take a look at another one. Let's do the fifth one. So here we have Celeste, which is a nice option to have, as well as a harp, another option. By the way, the harp is new. There's a large harp in the Opus Orchestra that's in addition to what you normally had in your other series, your diamond series of your percussion. And let's go ahead and look at the sixth preset. So we have some harp harmonics as well as vibraphone and the Celeste. So one of the things I like about it is they give you presets and different layer different instruments that you may not have thought of doing yourself. So it's sort of a nice the presets really give you ideas that you may not have thought of on your own, and you can instantly try them. Let's take a look now at the full ensemble. Here's the Legato Patch. So here we're looking at the violins, and we see what choices they've made here. Legato, mainly legato. And then if we scroll down a little bit, well, here's your, whoops. legato woodwinds. We could solo it. And we can see how they set up the woodwinds right here. And now let's take the solo off. Let's go ahead and solo the woodwinds section. Let's solo the brass. Actually, maybe we don't have brass. Looks like we just have, for this preset, we just have the woodwinds and the strings. So let's solo the strings. And there's the articulations. We have 18 violins, which is actually an upgrade to the orchestra. In the previous version, they had 16 violins. It looks like this patch is having a little difficulty. And I see why. Somehow they have all notes for the cello and its legato. So that's probably a preset error. So if we just go ahead and change that from all notes to, let's say, just the lowest, we have legato, all notes there. So that's going to create a problem. So let's go top. And then there's another legato with all notes. So let's just make that the middle. There's a legato with all notes. So that would create a problem. So we'll just say a top. So with all that done, then we can take the solo off and hear the woodwinds and the strings together. So let's look at the full ensemble short, and we'll go ahead and do the staccissimo 1. And so it's a good idea to see what sections you actually have. For example, if we go to woodwinds, we have brass, no percussion, and we have strings. So let's hear what that sounds like. So I would say very playable. And there's the full ensemble short. And let's take a look at the full ensemble movie. We have the Apocalypse 1. Let's go ahead and select that. And as you see, we have woodwinds. We have some brass. No percussion. Yeah, we had timpani hits and the strings. And also we have Apocalypse 2-3. Let's listen to a Mystique. Maybe do another Apocalypse 3. Let's go down to a Mystique. Now notice the violins penderecki. It sounds like this. So we have the violins, we have the percussion, we have a harp in there, and a mark tree, as well as some harp harmonics, and then we have the strings all in here. And so if you wanted to say go to the brass, there is no brass, okay. In the woodwinds, we have those articulations selected. And it sounds like this. And let's do the Mystique 4. And notice we have woodwinds here, bassoons, soloon. We have the harp. Bispigliando, probably not pronouncing that quite right. We have the mark tree. As well as harp harmonics. And saltasto, platando, violins. Two violins, platando. And some viola trims. And notice the cello is legato. Okay, let's listen to it all together. If I can... Oops, now I'm getting soloing everything. Okay. Let's take off the solos. Oh, that thing, I think that took them all off. So this is Bill McFadden. A new video will be coming up on how to capture the MIDI from all the sections in all of the various presets so that you can actually export the MIDI or create the MIDI and then choose different instruments. For example, if you've noticed there's no piano anywhere, so if we wanted to, we could export some of the MIDI in one of the presets and then assign that to one of our existing pianos. So look for that. So subscribe and click the bell icon so when that comes out you'll be notified, and it should come out probably tomorrow. So this is Bill McFadden signing off from tonepure.com.